those last couple of minutes are going to get extra ice time. So it kind of equals out over time. But I don't know. I mean, your kids have all got to play power play. They all got a penalty kill. I mean, I think when you get to a level like major junior where coaches' livelihoods are on the line, then maybe it changes a little bit. But even at that level, you got a fourth line. You got to play them. You can't have them sitting on the bench all day. And I mean, you got to be able to. They've got to develop. They're not going to be any good to you when you need them if they're not playing. They've got to feel part of it. I don't know. This is something that I struggle with, to be honest with you, as to when is the right time, when is the wrong time, how much. I mean, I think you have to take away ice time as well when it's warranted, and I also think you have to give ice time when it's warranted. So I mean, I think it's a balancing act, and I think a lot of it depends on the players you have in your team. Like sometimes there's players that are disruptive, and they have to be. The only thing you've got on them is their ice time, right? So I don't know. I think there's a lot of things going into it, but I certainly think at the community level or hockey, the kids have all got to play. I mean, I don't care unless it's a discipline thing. They got to play. Playing them based on their skill level or what they contribute in goals or defensive play to me is irrelevant at those levels.
Yeah. So you kind of put your finger on maybe Bantam AAA is where it starts to happen. Dino.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like when I started, I was coaching midget in Spokane, and then when I came back to Calgary, I went to Bantam, the major Bantam back then before they had AAA. So it was like the second year Bantam kids, and I remember back then, we tried to get everybody out as often as we could, and we just said the last couple minutes of the period, would be kind of discretionary. That mean we always use the last couple of minutes. It was if we felt somebody was playing really good and we needed that, then we would look at it. And that was really early on in my coaching career. And I think my philosophy it's kind of it's obviously. And I remember probably about 6 or 7 years in, I was coaching junior B in Invermere, and I decided I was going to experiment. Like I was really getting into coaching philosophy and what was I about, what were my values as a coach, and what kind of coaches did I look up to when I was a former player, and who did I like and why, and who did I like and why. And I was very much I realized a player-centric coach in the sense that I like what Bob says, I agree that discipline reasons, ice time can be a carrot and or a stick, and otherwise, we're in the development business, and at the junior B level, I decided that year I was going to play everybody equally. And I meant equally. I was going to roll all 4 lines, all 3 sets of D, and I did that until Christmas break. We were last in our division, but I'll tell you what, we weren't getting blown out. We were a young team, and we were really improving. And the GM came to me and he said, listen, I don't know what kind of bullshit Hockey Canada philosophy you got here rolling all your lines like that, but you got to change or I'm going to fire your ass. And I said, listen, this was a plan. I told the kids from the outset, I'm going to rule everybody equally, aside from discipline for the first half. And I'm going to be taking notes, and we're going to see where the strengths and weaknesses are of each kid. When we come back after Christmas, I'm going to have individual meetings with each one of them, and now we're going to slot them into some more of what I would call like a role, right? And based on their strengths, I'm going to try to maximize their strengths, and then we're going to continue to maximize strength in practice, but we're also going to work on some of the weaknesses because it's not my job completely to only worry about short-term winning this year. Like it kind of is because I'm getting paid for it, but we're here to try and promote kids to junior A, major junior, wherever. We're just another link in the development chain. And so when we came back for Christmas, the kids all knew what's going in. And so then I said, okay, here it is. We met with each kid and went through it with them and assigned roles, who's going to be playing power play and penalty kill, and that could change depending upon how they performed in the games, and then again how they got better in practice practice if I saw. And so it was never a sure thing. You weren't just granted, okay, Bob's on the first line power play and Tim's on second line PK.
What?
There.
Come on, I'm better than Bob.
I've seen your hands. We know you're more defensive-minded, right? So
You're right there.
like, it wasn't like that, because I don't think you want to stereotype or pigeonhole a kid. Like they're gonna continue to develop, or you hope they will. Some just develop at different rates. So you plug in insert guys and move them around, but they all had a role, and I really tried that if they were on the power play, then they weren't on the penalty kill. Like I wasn't just throwing all my top end guys out all the time on all situations, right? And so you know what? By the end of that year, we'd gone from last in our division to first in our division, and we ended up losing in the league final in Game 6. And almost every one of those kids went on to play Junior A within, the next year. I would say probably 3/4 played Junior A, and then the rest went on 2 years from then to continue to play. And I always look back at that little experiment that I did. I'm glad I didn't get fired. It was risky because the GM wanted to win, and like I said, but it was my own little experiment. I'm glad I did it because it really helped reinforce my own philosophy that we've got to really consider the kids and their experience and how we can help build them to the next level. And I mean, that went on later, major, junior, and all that. I wasn't the head coach, but as an assistant, and I still took that philosophy with me. And I still had great debates with people at those levels. And then, university, Team Canada, Pro, and all that. At the end of the day, we're trying to get guys to the next level. And it's not just about being a good hockey player, but it's about being a better human being off the ice. And I think that's often a big thing that we don't talk about when we're talking about ice time, because, as Bob was talking about, for disciplinary reasons, somebody's being disruptive. Well, if we pick them or we inherit them, we've got to try and find a way to connect with that kid, try and reconnect with that kid, and try and make them not disruptive, and try and build the human skills as well. So it's not, I really realized it's not just about the game; it's about the game off the ice, So that's kind of how I saw it. And if you have to pin me down for an age, Tim, I mean, like Bob says, kind of it depends. I like the Bantam age level sort of thing. I've never coached Pee Wee. That's the only level that I have not coached. So I think nowadays it's 12, 13? They call it year 13 or something. I don't even know. So I don't have the experience at that level, but that could be a level where, again, I don't know, maybe when you talk about manage the bench, like Wally talks about it being an art form, I think our definitions, we need to understand that. Like, I think when you say manage the bench, Tim, it's like maybe a signing role. Is that what your definition is? Where you maybe say, I'm going to play somebody on a power play who I'm not going to play? Is that what you mean?
Might even say Bantam AA because they're preparing perhaps for AAA, but that age group is probably, in my mind, a good age group to say, you know what, managing the bench and assigning some roles is kind of okay. And to Bob's point, taking away ice for non-negotiable reasons or giving extra ice for extra effort reasons. It's an important skill for all players to learn, male or female, when they're climbing up the ladder, because it's going to go on at those higher levels. So they need to learn it. But, below, that Bantam level, I'm really in Wally's camp where it really should be, everybody gets to play in all situations, and there's no managing of the bench. Like, if you're up a goal late in the game and you're quote unquote third line and third D pair are up, away they go.
Out they go.
Let them learn to handle that situation. But once you get to the higher Bantam levels, I think they maybe need to start learning that it's part of coaching, part of the art of coaching.
It was the best year ever. Like, just from a feeling of satisfaction, even though we didn't win. Like, it hurt like hell to lose in Game 6 at home. I remember Brad Larson working his tail off off as a 15-year-old against us, but you know, just like I'm really close to that group of guys. They still stay in touch with me, and I think a large part of it was I was very upfront with what we were going to do, and then I stuck to my guns, and we did it.
Yeah, and that's the key piece, I think, Dino, is as you mentioned, the communication of the plan before the season starts. Hey guys, this is what we're going to do. Fair and equal, everybody in the first half. Second half, we're going to start managing the bench a little bit, assigning roles, blah blah blah. The communication is key.
Talking about Bantam AAA, Midget AAA, what happens, what's happened that's destroying the game is they play the best players from the beginning of the season, double shifting them. And that's not only happening in Bantam AAA and Midget A, but it's happening in Novice 7. And that's the system that's gotten out of whack. The problem that I've experienced with AAA teams in Calgary, Midget AAA, is the power play people are known at the beginning of the year, and they play more often than anybody else. And not many teams from Calgary have advanced beyond the province because they haven't been able to create that team.